Welcome to the 59th episode of the Supernatural Occurrence Studies podcast. So damn paranormal.
The most.
I'm your host, Jason Knight, and with me today is...
Is conspiracies paranormal? It's Husker Spectre, everyone.
Yeah, you know, I kind of have the same concern.
Also joining
I'm
us
Dave Black.
is... I'm Dave Black. Fuck you, I'm Dave Black. Guys, remember, when we first... When we first started this podcast, we did say it was going to be about ghosts, cryptids, conspiracies, aliens, anything weird or off-kilter. So, yes, this topic that we're continuing, we did a double sitting today, right? So we continued the ElsaGate Conspiracy into episode 59.
2:18 in the morning.
2:18 in the morning. We're doing good. Oscar, you were going to say?
No, I was just making fun of you.
Thanks. So last we left off, in episode 58, we were talking about the ElsaGate Conspiracy and how something is targeting our children with these very heinous videos that a lot of people feel contain hidden messages and agendas.
Everyone, make sure this is part 2. Make sure you listen to the last episode.
Correct. Listen to episode 58. So where we left off, I was just about to start talking about how this conspiracy gets really scary and really dark and deep. So I wanted to pick up exactly where we left off. Some people believe these ElsaGate videos are being used as a form of communication by organized groups of child pornographers, which somewhat makes sense because the comments on the videos, oh my God, they're weird, they're creepy, disgusting. Some commenters just leave a seemingly random string of letters and numbers, which some believe is a code, possibly to global pedophile rings and child pornographers. Adult men leave comments in Russian and other foreign languages, all really skeevy stuff. Becoming more and more popular is the theory that the videos are part of an organized effort to actually control the minds of our children, making them highly sexualized, scared, completely dependent on authority figures, and violent. A new, modern version of the supposedly defunct U.S. government-sponsored MK-Ultra program, designed with content and colors arranged as mind control tactics targeted at our youngest and most vulnerable. To what end? Nobody knows.
All of the things you just said are basically what our media does. Our movies, our television shows, music, it's all violence and nonsense and sex. Like, that's how it's been for years.
Agreed. I agree. And who's to say that's not part of some agenda? I don't know. I'm not the only one who believes this stuff. The people who are propagating these theories and conspiracies aren't wackos, not all of them. On November 6, 2017, in a viral blog post, famous author, publisher, and artist James Bridle, someone concerned with technology and how it influences culture, wrote, and I quote, "These videos," referring to the ElsaGate videos, "these videos, wherever they are made, however they come to be made, and whatever their conscious intention is, i.e., to generate ad revenue, are feeding upon a system which was consciously intended to show videos to children for profit. The unconsciously generated emergent outcomes of that are all over the place. What we're talking about is very young children, effectively from birth, being deliberately targeted with content that will traumatize and disturb them via networks which are extremely vulnerable to exactly this form of abuse," end quote. He's basically arguing that YouTube is contributing to violence against children. And like it or not, today, the internet influences how we see the world, how we interact with other people. It helps form our opinions of people, places, and events. It shapes us. as adults. Imagine what it's doing to people younger than us, these young, impressionable, and in a lot of cases, barely developed minds. It's terrifying. Who's heard of the YouTube Adpocalypse? Have you guys heard of Adpocalypse?
No.
Here's where it starts getting even more strange. Dave, have you heard of Adpocalypse?
I briefly when I was researching ElsaGate, but I don't know much about it.
Yeah, Adpocalypse is this huge demonetization of content creators across the YouTube platform. And so I'll explain. The Adpocalypse began with world-famous Swedish YouTube star Felix Arvid Ulf Kildeberg, known on YouTube simply as PewDiePie. PewDiePie, according to YouTube, has earned well over $124 million on YouTube since 2010 and has amassed a staggering 59.7 million subscribers.
He's also like a straight-up Nazi.
Oh, stop. He's not.
He's a white supremacist.
No, he is not. Now, PewDiePie, Dave, you're right, he did do something stupid. He let the N-word slip during a particularly poor performance he was suffering during a live stream gameplay he was doing in September 2017. That one slip, coupled with some seemingly anti-Semitic comments he made in a few videos years ago, forced some of his biggest sponsors like Disney and Coke, among others, to withdraw sponsorship, hitting PewDiePie where it hurts the most.
You'd think Disney would be all over that anti-Semitic stuff.
Hitting PewDiePie where it hurts most, in his pockets. But it didn't stop there. Shortly after his sponsors began withdrawing, YouTube started to demonetize a lot of PewDiePie's content, further affecting his income. And YouTube didn't stop with PewDiePie. Seemingly overnight, YouTube enacted a policy that became known as Adpocalypse. YouTube started demonetizing any content creator that went against YouTube's new guidelines. Anything YouTube deemed inappropriate, what they call not advertiser friendly or just NAF, and that definition is very vague, could no longer make revenue on the YouTube platform. Some instances of NAF videos, according to YouTube, are videos that contain sensitive social issues and videos that contain tragedy or conflict. Suddenly, and without warning, content creators covering subjects like fairly mainstream commentary, public service announcements, unbiased reporting, comedy, Dave, instructional videos, and world history were demonetized without any notice and without consideration given as to what messages were being delivered in the videos or the tone in which they were being delivered. Satirical, for example. Freedom of speech, out the window. You can see how this is a huge problem and why it's causing such an uproar with Adpocalypse. Some YouTube channels claim they've lost upwards of 70% of their income because of Adpocalypse. And I could attest to Adpocalypse. We had one of our videos from the Nevada Extraterrestrial and Gross Odyssey podcast releases, the one from Dennis Hoff's Alien Cat House.
Taken down?
Demonetized. Would not let me monetize it. Right. I used tags such as, prostitution, cat house,
right.
X-rated, because that was legitimately the content we were talking about.
Right.
So without any concern for content or message, what I just mentioned, YouTube demonetized my video. Our video.
Right.
On Supernatural Occurrence Studies on YouTube. Check it out. So
did you put it back up with no tags?
I did, and now I have money on it.
Huh.
Now I monetized it.
So what about those people? Because there are educational videos that require you to use the word or the N-word or political sign or whatever.
YouTube doesn't give a fuck.
That's
it's
just
done.
Right.
So here's where the conspiracy comes in. PewDiePie lets a slur fly and gets absolutely hammered. Lesser-known content creators who depend on ad revenue merely touch on a not advertiser-friendly topic like us, like our YouTube channel, and they get hammered. We got hammered. Yet ElsaGate videos have been on YouTube for years, targeting our children, making combined billions of dollars in ad revenue, note combined $1 billion in ad revenue, and they were allowed to operate until just last year. This has a lot of people screaming conspiracy, that YouTube was in on it from the beginning, either simply enjoying the money coming in from advertising. Remember, as we mentioned in the last episode, 45% revenue share YouTube collects from monetized channels. Or worse yet, YouTube had to allow the videos to continue because nefarious external forces wanted it to continue. Powerful pedophile rings, U.S. government, foreign governments, no one knows. But you got to admit, it's insane that it went on for so long and seemingly undetected. Gets even deeper. MK Ultra. Well, first, do you guys believe that these powerful pedophile rings exist in the world? Because if you don't, well, go ahead.
No, my answer is kind of a no. I don't. I'm not saying that there isn't a percentage of the 1% that are, some of them should be pedophiles, by just nature, right? One of them has got to be, but that doesn't mean that there's a powerful ring of them. I think the most powerful, whatever version of them, isn't probably that powerful. Okay. Ultimately, no. It just seems so. What every culture, right, out there on the planet knows it's crazy frowned upon, right? Every culture, every rendition of it. I don't care what crazy Manila street you're in or whatever. And even the cultures that are oblivious to that aren't big enough to be widely known, so they probably don't have a ring or a powerful setting to that. So by that standard, I don't think there is a big powerful one.
Okay, Dave, do you think?
Probably. There's sex trafficking rings, so there's probably. And you see people get busted all the time. 80 people get caught in pornography ring or whatever. And obviously there's child pornography being made for content and whatnot.
Right. Yeah.
So
those things are true.
Yeah, definitely. There's these things out there.
Absolutely. You cannot have your head in the sand about this stuff, because if anyone out there is one of those who think that these global pedophile rings don't exist, you're dangerously fucking mistaking. Google the Lolita Express. Just Google Lolita Express. Or if you really want to give yourself fucking nightmares, research a true beast in human form named Jimmy Savile from the UK and who he was involved with. And we'll cover these guys and these topics on later episodes. But pedophile rings are very real, and they're very, very powerful, encompassing U.S. presidents, political power players, British royalty, celebrity. Just look what happens in Hollywood. Look up Corey Feldman and Corey Haim just to get a taste of what goes on in this country with children. It's fucking depraved and sickening, and anyone involved in this shit should be killed in the worst way possible. But again, we'll cover these topics in future episodes of the Supernatural Occurrence.
I don't see how they can become political. I don't understand that point. How does that happen?
The political power players who are involved
how does that even happen?
Sick underground. I honestly think when you get to a certain level of power in your life, you want to push boundaries. You think everything else is below you, everything else is...
So it's more like a power play than it is something that they've inherently always wanted,
no,
which is to see kids.
I think it's absolutely both.
And there's enough of that to inspire these insane...
I want you to... Oscar,
I'm not saying these things don't exist.
No, I'm not challenging you. I'm not challenging you. I am challenging you. I want you to research...
Yeah, which one?
Jimmy Savile. Savile.
I'll look it up right now.
Research Jimmy Savile. It is... And who he was involved with, and how he was protected, and how he was such a depraved predator for so long without being caught as a public figure, like Oprah, or just name some other big star in the U.S. That's who he was in the UK, and what he did with children living and dead. It's disgusting. That's him. That sick fuck. So this shit is real. So some people say that it's these global pedophile rings having some hand in ElsaGate. Again, I don't know if this is true, but it's curious. Before I got into the pedophile rings, I kind of let slip MK Ultra, because that's my next point. I want to talk about MK Ultra and how it ties into possibly YouTube videos in ElsaGate. Now, MK Ultra, or Project MK Ultra, which probably people who listen to this podcast have heard of before, it's what the Netflix hit series Stranger Things is loosely based on.
And there's a Netflix a documentary / biopic also. It does both things. That does reimaginings by Errol Morris too, the great Errol Morris. Directed this 8-episode series called Wormwood about the.
I've heard of it, Dave. Is this the one you were talking about? Wormwood.
What's it?
The one on the text thread? No, that was a different one.
Oh, I don't think
Right.
so.
No, that was a Stars program about something else. It looks
was,
cool though, but I haven't seen it.
Counterpart. Is what
Counterpart.
I was talking
Right.
Jake
No,
Gleason.
Wormwood is about. It starts out at the jumping off point that they use in the show because it's all facts. It's all like talking heads of these kids of the father who. Anyway, there's this guy who jumped out the window in the 50s, 60s. I forget what day. 60s, I think, or 75. Oh, fuck, I don't remember. So a lot of dates in that show. And he jumped off the window of a New York hotel under LSD, and he was supposedly one of the pioneer people who were involved in the MK Ultra in its beginnings, and he wanted out. And apparently, a lot of conspiracy about the documentary. I haven't seen the whole show yet, so I don't know where it's going yet. But it's
So this is a
alluding.
documentary?
Yeah. It's alluding that he might have been killed because he wanted out of this program, and they dosed him. There was a guy supposedly in the room, which was the family were never told they were. And later, there were when the papers came out about MK Ultra in the 80s. Which was a big deal back then.
Oh, absolutely it was.
Huge deal, or 80s or 90s, 80s, I think. And, everyone, the public knew about it. The family got suddenly, more famous about it because they always wondered what the dad was doing. Why would he commit suicide for no reason? And and they were the only family that got like an actual apology from the president, which was Nixon at the time or something.
Really?
Yes. And furthermore, they also got a money settlement, which wasn't what they promised, but they got some of it when they were going to, quote unquote, sue the courts, but they got tricked out of doing it the right way or something like that from the government. So they did it wrong and they never got completion on that.
Wow.
I'm watching it still, but it's very interesting.
That's awesome. I'm glad you brought that up because people who don't know, MK Ultra, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
This is a bona fide,
And there's been a lot of movies too.
sometimes illegal United States Central Intelligence Agency sponsored mind control program. This is the U.S. CIA attempting to control people's minds for nefarious reasons.
They also had remote viewers.
They did.
The
This is
initial
real
the
stuff.
initial component, the initial reasoning why they
It's
started
like
doing
Hydra
it.
Shit.
Because LSD is made in a lab, right?
Right, yeah.
It's a genetically engineered thing. It's not like grown from a tree or a mushroom. It's so what they wanted to do is that they wanted to experiment with this drug to see the facets of the human mind. That's the original. Let's just say wholesomely optimistic
Nice.
approach to what became the nefarious thing we all know. Obviously, it turned into that.
Right.
But that wasn't the initial thing. According to this documentary, again, which is just one point of view, really, because it's one man's point of view and research compiled and edited in a way that make you think whatever they want. So, grain of salt here. But I believe it's so, too. I mean, again, I know the guy's movies. He's pretty good about that kind of thing. But, yeah.
It's awesome. I'm definitely going to have to check it. Listeners, check it out. Wormwood. Now, as I said, MK Ultra, sometimes illegal. United States CIA-sponsored mind control program organized by the Scientific Intelligence Division of the CIA, coordinated with the Special Operations Division of the U.S. Army's Chemical Corps. Project MK Ultra used experiments on humans intending to identify and develop drugs and procedures to be used in interrogations and torture in order to weaken the individual to force confessions through mind control. Project MK Ultra began in 1953, headed by Sidney Gottlieb. Strangely enough, there's Gottlieb Hospital right here in Chicago in Melrose Park.
Mm-hmm.
And MK Ultra was officially scrapped, and I'm using air quotes, in 1973. Almost all records of Project MK Ultra have been destroyed, but a cache of 20,000 surviving records were released to the public under the Freedom of Information Act in 2001, Oscar. 2001. So remember, guys, this shit's real, all right? During its time, MK Ultra used various nefarious techniques, and a lot of times against unknowing U.S. and Canadian test subjects to gauge the effectiveness of their techniques. forced or secret LSD administration, like you said, Oscar, hypnosis, sensory deprivation, isolation, verbal abuse, other forms of psychological torture, color programming.
Yeah, and we see that sometimes in dramatic renditions of how we treated prisoners of war in black site operations, like during the Iraq War, which I guess is still kind of going.
I don't think it's ever going to end.
Right, it's never going to end. And you see it, and a lot of it's verified by journalists who've known that kind of thing or research it, where how they sensory deprive their prisoners to get information off them, even if they don't know themselves.
Yeah,
things like that. So it's like a lot of that stuff has been perfected to achieve a certain effect, and other stuff that they maybe want to do, let's say if they want to mass control the population to do whatever they want, that hasn't been perfected yet, but seems like they're on their way to do that, or they're trying.
Right.
Well,
MKUltra was broad. It took place at 80 institutions that we know of across the U.S., including 44 universities, hospitals, prisons, and probably most scary, pharmaceutical companies. It's behavior and mind control, behavior modification and mind control the CIA was after. Creating Manchurian candidates, people that, without knowing it, were programmed to carry out certain tasks when triggered, like murders, assassinations, and other murky behavior. After the deed is completed, the person would go back to being themselves without any recollection of what they did. Think Sirhan, the guy who assassinated Robert F. Kennedy in 1968, or Mark David Chapman, who killed John Lennon in 1980. Just two examples of assassins that themselves claim were MKUltra test subjects turned Manchurian candidates.
Now, question about that one. He died in 1980, right? Lennon. Was so all this information was out already? No, not all of it actually. So was he saying that right away, Chapman?
Completely. I believe it was Chapman who just sat down on
before these papers were released, right?
Yeah, he just sat down a curb and started reading his copy of Catcher in the Rye.
Right. Yeah, he was obsessed with that book.
Which is a very common theme in these supposed programmed assassins.
If you guys want to watch
they're always
a
found
fun
with Catcher in the Rye.
You guys want to watch a fun popcorn movie about the very subject we're talking about? Watch a movie called No, not that one. No, Jesus, that movie sucks. Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson.
But he got fat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's constantly rereading He buys a new copy every day.
Yes.
And the Star Trek guy, the bad guy in the movie, I forget his name offhand. Patrick Stewart. Thank you.
Nice, Dave.
He's doing something today. He was manipulating him to possibly assassinate someone, and he got out of it. He's one of the rare people that managed to break free from their spell in a way. But what they do is that they subliminally or LSD induced or whatever, or like through video subliminal craziness, they treat these subjects in such a way where they would become assassins when they want to.
That's exactly.
And that's what the movie's kind of about.
Yeah, and that's what they say MKUltra was all about. It was about breaking down the mind, fracturing the mind, creating multiple people, if you will, within one body, and then having certain triggers pull this alternate person forward to commit these dark deeds. Whether it was a particular symbol, whether it was a particular phrase. A lot of people say these trigger phrases was found in Catcher in the Rye. That's why so many of these supposed programmed assassins had Catcher in the Rye either on them or in their homes, their dwellings. Some say it's certain colors that will trigger certain alternate people, alternate personalities within a single individual to come forward and do something dastardly. So it's crazy. Like I said, it's a deep, dark hole. And what the theory is, well, okay, so how does this tie into YouTube and ElsaGate? How does MKUltra tie into this stuff?
By the way, Deep Dark Hole is the name of your porn, right?
It is.
Okay, good.
So how does it tie in? It's all about content and colors. Namely, the colors red, blue, yellow, pink, and green. Colors that show up time and time again in these weird videos. And what those colors happen to be doing during the videos. If a certain color is acting aggressively, it's a dress on a character. Whether a color is acting submissively, based on something someone above the submissive person is holding, almost beating them down. It's what the content and colors combined are doing within the videos being shown to young minds is what some conspiracy theorists believe causing reprogramming of our youth. And it's called exactly color programming. And it was used in the 1950s and believed had to been developed at UCLA, California, as a way to access a person's system, their CPU, if you will, to alter their programming. Color programming is also linked to multiple personality disorder and dissociative identity disorder. In other words, creating multiple people inside one single person, again, fracturing the mind. In the 1950s, there were trainers that did color programming. Today, those trainers are supposedly disbanded with the breakup of MK Ultra, but could YouTube and social media on a whole be today's new trainers? If so, what is the trainer training our children to do? Now, if color programming is true, and these colors, red, blue, yellow, pink, green, that continually pop up in these ElsaGate videos, if there's a code to these colors, and the codes break down like this. Anything that has to do with red symbolizes or equals to the alter personality, sexuality, sexual abuse, be eager to please, prostitution, something that's stimulating, often associated with a child personality within a person. Blue color is programmed to be the tough guy, the aggressor, protector. It's military programming. But, depending on how it's used in the videos, could also be something that's calming, often associated with an alpha personality within a person. Yellow. Yellow, according to color programming, is supposed to represent spirituality and positivity, balance among the other colors, associated with a positive personality within an individual. Again, to balance any negative personalities that have been implanted. Pink is the baby. It's little, it's innocent. It's a baby in an adult body. It's someone who's emotionally fragile and weak. Green, depending on the shade, could equal, or does equal, according to color programming, intense loyalty, fierce loyalty, family, bond. And in the case of emerald or dark green, the Antichrist, or the Satan personality. Movies are a highly effective way to get children into a state of disassociation, to get them into a hypnotic state, an impressionable state, where programming can begin. If you've ever seen a kid sitting in front of a video, they're gone. They're absolutely gone. They're not there anymore.
Hell, I'm gone.
You're right. Well, and that's the funny thing, and it happens.
I have something to say about the movie angle, but I'll let you finish first.
Yeah, no, it happens.
I'm like texting on my phone. I'm like,
oh no, you're gone. It happens to Katie and myself. We'll the kids will be watching cartoons or whatever, normal cartoons, people, not YouTube anymore. Kids will be watching cartoons. We get them to bed. We come back down. We're tired. It's been a long day. What do? We sit in front of the TV and we fucking zone out to these stupid-ass cartoons. Half hour later, we'll snap out of it and be like, what are we doing? Why are we watching this? It puts us into a hypnotic state. Imagine what it's doing to babies or kids. That's where the programming begins. Add these colors and content, who knows what they're creating? So the question has to be asked, if these mysterious content creators wanted to take advantage of the popularity of children's characters and the searching habits involved, why not create content, and this is exactly to Oscar's point, why not create content that features the same characters without all the weird, abusive, borderline pornographic depictions? That's what makes me think there's more to it than just ad revenue. These people don't care about copyright infringement. They don't give a shit about
Fuck, I mean,
appropriation of an image.
If you go to any Mexico city or state or small town,
Yeah.
Lots of shops that are locally owned or whatever would have like drawings and paintings of Mickey Mouse and Shrek or whatever.
Doing normal shit, right?
Blatant, yeah. No, they're just trying to sell their store, and that's just blatant copyright infringement that nobody cares. And that's just a smaller version of it, but yeah, it's pretty common. Yes.
Right, exactly. So these content creators don't have to add the Freudian aspect to these videos, these horrible images, these carnal, there's deep-rooted fears that everybody has. There's no reason. They could make money without it. Someone's consciously making the decision to put out these videos. Who is it and why?
Yeah, there is a very you guys want to see something like a breakdown of this, like the anti-culture thing of this is there is a very, very good set of videos. I think I might have told you maybe off air one time last year or the year before, I forget, Jay. It's called Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. Is a 6-episode short film. It's portrayed to look like a children's video on purpose, but it's meant for adults. And you can tell right away it's meant for adults. It's not telling you it's meant for kids. It's pretty... What it is that it sets up a very common Sesame Street-esque, what are colors and how to be creative. And one's about how to eat healthy. One's about what is love. And then start completely breaking that down.
Don't hurt me no more.
Right. It will start breaking that down and show like elements that are some of purposely subliminal in a way where it's, very bold, and some of it's not so bold. And there's like hidden elements and conspiracies within the storyline of these 6 videos that are meant to be children-like, but for adults. And Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared breaks it down in the 6th episode. It basically shows like a greater conspiracy of these content creators and how they can have their vision of something creative taken over by a corporation or their overlords, so to speak, like the people that own them or own the channel or own the people that own the channel, how they can manipulate what's created for as content on TV to tell their nefarious purposes. And in this case, they use an oats guy, like a guy who owns oats, and he'll put oats in there subliminally in the background to get people to buy more oats, I guess. And the video is full of this stuff, and it's really, really good. It's all puppetry. Some of it's animated, but very little of it, and cool. It's like professionally made. The guys took years to make all this stuff, and it's sing-songy, it's addictive. I've seen all 6 videos like 1,000 times.
Wow. I really want to see this.
It's so fucking good. It's Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. It's on YouTube. There is a lot of videos relating to that, people breaking it down, showing you like all the stuff you missed, and nice. It's amazing. It's really layered upon layered upon layered. Well, it's a very breakdown of this thing.
That's the other thing too. You mentioned subliminally. Subliminal seduction. That's a very real thing that advertisers have been doing for 50 years.
Yeah, and this program is specifically known for. It took so long to make because they couldn't get any funding to back it because no one wants to fund it for the very reason because of what it does. I guess it kind of adds more to the conspiracy of it. So it's kind of fun.
Well, yeah, subliminal seduction. These subliminal hits. Advertisers have been doing it forever, hiding the image of a naked woman in the smoke, someone smoking a cigarette in an advertisement, and in that smoke, your eyes don't catch it, but your mind catches a beautiful woman. So if I smoke this
Disney
cigarette,
VHS tapes too.
If I smoke a cigarette, I'll get the beautiful woman, right? Which one?
Well, like the old, you've seen those old VHS things, in The Little Mermaid when they're getting married, the kids will have a boner. And another one, there'll be a dildo in Little Mermaid's chamber of stuff that she collects.
Lion King, the leaf spells sex, and all good children have sex.
Something like that.
One of the monkeys says,
right.
These little subliminal hits.
They took them out now. Right. They're not in. If you buy them on iTunes, they're not there anymore. But if you have those old VHS tapes, they're on there.
Wow,
for
if
sure.
You play it backwards. It says Paul is dead.
Right. Think of McDonald's main color red. Red, according to this color programming.
I can see it as yellow. But...
Red and yellow, right?
Okay.
But majority red.
Okay.
There's just a little yellow M, right?
Yeah.
Background red. According to this color programming.
Background red.
Background red.
That's what
I said. Listen, don't play on your phone.
Yeah, phone player.
But according to this color programming chart that I just read through, red is like indulgence. It's stimulating. It's eager. It's wanting. That's a subliminal hit by McDonald's. You see the golden arches with that red background, suddenly you're hungry.
It's also the color of the inside of a hobo's head.
Okay. So that's my whole point, and Oscar made it in last episode, is these creators could make tons of money just copywriting and having these characters do innocent, silly things and rake in the dough.
I mean, most of these videos, they're
not.
looking for a ball to bounce higher than the other ball.
Okay, so
You know,
the
they're
thing
like
I
simple
don't
videos.
understand is this: if you post a song, if you even just post a video and there's a song playing in the background, or if you post a video clip and you're talking over a video clip of like a movie or something, you'll get taken down for copyright violation.
Right.
But
It wouldn't even let you upload.
why are these... I don't understand why these videos on Facebook are allowed to use copyrighted characters.
Facebook or YouTube?
Or on YouTube.
Okay. It's late, guys. It's okay. 3 o'clock in the morning.
Are able to use these copyrighted characters
Because they're...
without being...
No, because they're drawn. They're drawn to look like them, but they're not like an exact copy.
But they're still calling them that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elsa is just a regular name, man. They don't have copyrights on Elsa.
Spider-Man?
Yeah, Spider-Man wears full garb.
Maybe if it's not like properly hyphenated, but it's different. The lines are different. It's not the same. They're not copywriting. They're taking the look of something to make it appear like it is an exact copy, but it's not an exact copy. If you look at the thing in Devly, there are ways around that. It's like when you see a swimsuit model or something,
Well, I guess
a
it's
picture,
like a porn
and they're all
does,
fake.
like a rip-off parody of something. They're not going to get sued for it or whatever. But
instead of Titanic, it's gigantic.
Yeah.
And it's a huge...
Titanic,
right. So, at the end of the day, again, I mentioned this in last episode, if we get one parent out of these 2 episodes to pull YouTube from their kids or just heavily regulate and sit next to their kids while they're watching YouTube, we've done our job. I definitely think there's more than meets the eye to this ElsaGate thing. Hopefully YouTube gets on the ball here and just completely whacks every single one of these.
When you,
improves their vetting filters, does something.
You take your kids, you put them in front of YouTube, and you put in car crash videos. And then you just let them watch.
Is that the equivalent of getting your kid to smoke an entire carton of cigarettes to make them to stop smoking or something?
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Let them chug a whole bottle of Fireball so they don't drink again.
It's got to be Jägermeister, man.
But now, according to forums, people they have to. If they see videos like the ones we've been talking about these 2 episodes, if they see them on YouTube, they got to flag them as inappropriate. It seems that people and companies flagging videos as inappropriate has been more effective than the YouTube algorithms up to this point have been at catching these videos. So if people run across them, you got to flag them to get them down.
You know the big difference, another big difference between YouTube Kids and YouTube regular?
What?
Is that there is no way to vote yes or no on it.
Oh, on YouTube Kids?
Mm-hmm.
I thought they had a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Well, maybe they added it recently, but I saw this, researching this whole thing, I saw this video, and this guy was showing me that YouTube Kids does not have that. It didn't show it. At the very least, it didn't show it, or there's no way to add, to vote up or down on it, because that depends on a lot of people viewing it. If there's a bunch of down votes, then they wouldn't go on it.
Yeah, and the other thing, a lot of these content creators...
It's meant for kids to just replay and put on.
Yeah.
They're not meant to, generate a comment section. Or they have a comment section, but they're not meant to generate a whole... Palaver or something. Everybody in Dark Tower.
Palaver, nice.
Yes.
Dark Tower, yeah. Another thing these content creators do is they'll hide their subscribers, so you don't really know outwardly how popular these channels are, which is another little nefarious tactic.
They can hide that?
You can't, I guess so.
Huh.
Yeah. Yep. And just the comments by these.
I don't regularly watch YouTube. I only go on there to steal clips from a trailer so I can put it in my show.
What's your other show?
Another movie podcast.
Another movie podcast.
Right, it's like another one. There's so many. This is another movie
This is an
podcast.
extra.
That's where I get it
That was
from.
a cheap little plug.
Thank you. Very cheap. Very like $2. So I would pull clips, barely watch them. I hate to have to skip. Grab the clip, put it into my editing folder, and I take out whatever clip I want to use, and then between the non-spoiler and spoiler sessions. That's the only reason I use it for. Otherwise, I don't really go on YouTube.
I get sucked in that YouTube hole all the time. I just go to look up one
Lexi
video.
shows me videos, sure, but that's the only
I'm
time.
like, what the hell?
For me, I'm like, oh, I have to go to sleep, but I'm going to watch this video on Facebook. And then you're like, oh, what's this other video
And then
that's showing me?
2 hours later.
And then you're like, when you back out of the video, you're like, wait a minute. I watched that monkey video 17 hours ago, I think.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I don't. That never happens to me.
We're full-grown adults.
That never happens to me.
Imagine the kids.
I don't really go on it very much. I don't know
Well,
any
that's
YouTube.
good.
I don't know one YouTube star except for that Philip DeFranco guy because my friend, every time I go to his house, James, I'm talking to you.
Damn it, James.
He fucking puts them on all the time. He puts on other people that he likes that he, on his
I
big
don't
screen.
understand.
Does
I'm
he
like, okay.
does he watch our channel?
Probably
Chicago's
not.
own
No.
Supernatural
I
Occurrence
don't know.
Studies on
Probably very
YouTube.
We're
I
probably
don't
very
understand
boring.
like the internet sensation
Yeah.
YouTube stars, like
Oh,
because
yeah.
when you do like see their you're like, I don't even what are they even talking?
You know
about?
my
What's
favorite.
happening?
You know my favorite thing is when I hear celebrities like big time celebrities like Drake or something like that. Dave
Akon.
Chappelle talked about it recently in one of his stand-ups, I think, or one of his I don't remember where. He was mentioning like, man, my neighbors are now these YouTube kid stars and they're buying these expensive ass houses next to mine. I don't know who the fuck they are, and they all make fun of them because they're
Well,
like
like this
they're not-
PewDiePie guy.
Right, exactly.
Fucking PewDiePie?
Millions.
Making $120 million.
That Fred guy was
what does
huge.
he do? What is his?
He just reviews games. I think he just plays games live in front of people. Or
Yeah,
something.
and that's a huge thing.
Right. What was that?
What is PewDiePie?
PewDiePie's fun.
What does he do, Lexi? Lexi's
he
here.
plays games and reacts to him playing games.
So then that's what he was doing when he let the N-word slip when the whole Adpocalypse.
What about the
started.
manicured woman with the toys, man?
Yeah, exactly. There's just
I
a
feel like-
draw.
I feel like you can just make a
Leo watches
like
that.
you would just make a YouTube video
Probably.
where like I'm gonna try different shampoos and review shampoo.
I mean, there are people,
People
that
would watch
yes,
it.
yeah. I mean, people do that. I don't like it. I don't watch it.
I don't understand.
I don't-
It doesn't
I
make any
was
sense.
But-
for researching for these episodes. I was doing like the top 10 richest YouTube people or whatever.
I mean, if you guys
And,
want to,
like,
you can see a 13-year-old Lexi on there.
3 or 4. Not that she's 13 now.
No, but a 13-year-old version of Lexi.
Like 3
worry,
or
I won't.
4 people out of the top 10 were these average-looking women who just did makeup tutorials. Here's how you put on fucking eyeshadow.
Yeah.
Here's how you.
I mean,
don't
sometimes I go on
pluck
there
your
for how
brows.
to, like how to.
But they're making tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Dave, get us a fucking idea, will you? We need
telling you,
money,
man.
son.
See, here's the thing.
We need iTunes
I
ratings.
I understand. It feels like I feel like YouTube is the very answer of which I hate humanity, but also that gives me a little hope because of how easy not it makes it look, but the easy, how just surprisingly beneficial monetarily wise can it be, right? But it's such a if aliens came today, this is what we have to show them.
PewDiePie?
What the fuck? We have a lot to answer for morally.
PewDiePie, Lexi?
Not
Really?
not even morally speaking, but just like respectfully.
Wait, let her
speaking.
say his name.
Oh,
What's
God.
his name,
All right.
Lexi?
PewDiePie.
Don't ever do. She did. She did
did the
little,
jazz hands.
Yeah, jazz hands next
Yeah.
to the mic.
Sure.
That's kind of like Bacardi B.
And my brother's addicted to Twitch, which is just people playing games.
Yeah.
And they do. I mean, some of it's really cool.
My
and
kids love watching Minecraft. People playing Minecraft games.
right. And there's
But I watch them like a fucking hawk.
But
now.
surprisingly enough, a lot of those people, what they do is that they have communities of people, like expert gamers. They'll have an expert on just this one game alone. This guy who played the shit out of this game,
Yeah.
he perfected it. He knows every twist and turn. Right? They'll get him on, and they'll have this. They'll throw up this thing where people are watching, millions upon millions of people. I know. I've seen the numbers. I look at it it's live.
Right,
And people
right.
are commenting, and they throw out comments and stuff like that. Everyone donates some money, $1 here, $1 there, and almost all of it goes to once they reach a certain level, they'll create more from that point, or they'll reach a certain level to donate half of it to whatever charity they got going on the
Wow.
day. So they do a lot of good stuff, surprisingly, and they have competitions with each other, speed runs they call it.
Yeah, I just watched one of
They finish an 8-hour game in in
some
1 hour.
kid
Or
finished
something.
Super Mario Brothers in
Yeah.
like 30 seconds or
Yeah,
something.
it was insane.
A minute, whatever
Right.
it was.
Yeah, that's insane. And
Oscar, so-
people watch this.
Here's my question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to
but when
you.
you watch that video of like the guy finishing Super Mario Brothers in like whatever 2 minutes, you're like,
Yeah.
okay, so it's a completely.
It's on the next one. On to the next one. On
On to
to
the
Kirby
next one.
Dreamland.
Exactly.
On to,
On to PewDiePie, and I did the jazz hands.
yeah, you did.
Lexi, did I do it okay? She said yes. All right. So, Oscar, my question to you. How could we make that kind of dough and pull that kind of audience with the Chicago's own Supernatural Occurrence Studies YouTube
Okay, we need to
page?
lower our standards like a few notches.
Okay, I feel we could do that easily.
Have not even a good idea, just a halfway decent idea, and then go all out.
Yeah, first of all, we have to stop talking so much. People don't like to hear talking.
Definitely not. Our voices are not like, there are great podcasts out there that make a lot of money, not like PewDiePie money, but they make a lot of money.
No,
on,
the last podcast.
They'll just read like a Bible or a book or anything they want because they like because their voices are soothing. Maybe they put people to sleep.
Wow.
There are podcasts out there that put people to sleep. And then, they monetize their voice by just reading about anything, a chemistry book.
Fuck,
and
man.
And then that's what people use, and they subscribe to those people.
Well, I know one of my favorite podcasts. It's called the Last Podcast on the Left.
Right.
On Patreon, which, by the way, folks, we do have a Patreon page. You can join the Patreon community. It's patreon.com/Supernatural Occurrence Studies Podcast. The last podcast on the left, they're making over $27,000 a month on Patreon.
Mm-hmm. I just want to make a note that I fucking hate that word.
Patreon?
I don't like it.
Tell us why.
Mean?
Tell us why.
It's just a stupid word.
Patron. You're a patron.
Patreon with E-O-E-N.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be patron. You're patron
because if it's patron,
you're patroning.
You're
patroning the whatever you're sponsoring, kind of. Yeah, so patreon.com /Supernatural Occurrence Studies Podcast. Give us a sponsorship, listeners. We got a lot of cool stuff for people who'll sponsor. Actual autographed printed photos,
I think
stickers,
the gold members they get a blowjob,
content,
right? They get blowjobs with the gold member.
Live chats with us, the hosts of the podcast.
Oh, I got an idea.
Patreon.com /Supernatural Occurrence Studies Podcast.
I got an idea.
What's your idea?
We put little hats on caterpillars.
They're guaranteed there's a market for it.
Yep.
I'm telling you.
We make little hats.
Things like that.
Now, what would you call that?
It's got to be something
channel?
ridiculous, but
Caterpillar
somehow
hats.
watchable and cute.
That's creative.
No, we call it Caterpillar Hats, Elsa, Spider-Man, Finger Bang.
Finger family.
Family finger banging.
Right.
Elsa, Spider-Man.
Right.
Poop dicks.
Poop. You can't forget the poop.
Poopy dicks. Poopy dicks Caterpillar hats.
Oh, God. I don't know. This whole ElsaGate thing's got me all fucked up. As a parent, when I came in and I watched my kids watching these videos,
I did have an idea for you, too.
I now know I could never take back those crazy images they see. And it makes me feel like a bad parent.
Well, the thing is that, oh my God. Oh, I don't want to mention
We don't talk to our 9-year-old about sex. We haven't had that conversation yet. She still thinks Santa Claus is real. She still thinks Elf on the Shelf is real.
I mean, you might be surprised at what she knows already.
Well, I'm kind of thinking she's calling us bullshit on the Elf on the Shelf, but Santa's definitely real.
What's Elf on the Shelf?
Elf on the Shelf is this elf, this little cute elf. Ours is called Snoozy, that you move around the house around Christmas, and he watches the kids and reports back to Santa how they behave.
And he comes alive at night and stabs you in the eye with a cuticle scissors.
I mean, yeah, but it's all
okay.
Good. So we haven't had that talk. So to me, having her see these images, I feel like a bad parent. I could never take those out of her head again. And
the thing is that you will never know what will fuck up your kids.
Yeah,
you never will know. It could be you. It could be yelling about something incomprehensible at some point.
I yell a lot.
The memories I have that are not favorable from my parents are things that I'm sure if I told them today, A, they would not remember for the life of them because it was so mundane and everyday. Right. And two, it's out of context. It's something that wasn't meant to be bad or anything. I just remember it being really bad, and I still have it in my head today.
Wow,
it's still in there. God knows whatever subconscious thing that my subconscious mind has that I don't remember right now that fucked me up in a deeper way. I don't know.
Probably your uncle.
Probably my uncle.
Touchy.
Uncle Mario.
Uncle Touch a lot, yeah.
How do you say touchy in Spanish?
No, that's not a word for
Manos?
No. I mean, manos is a hand.
How do you say handsy in Spanish?
There is no thing. We don't put a Y to something and then make it another
How
version of that word.
How do you say touchy-feely?
I don't know.
Okay, all right. We tried. So, Dave, I'm afraid to do this, Oscar.
I mean, you don't have to. It's your house.
So we talked about ElsaGate past 2 episodes.
Yeah.
What, at the end, after hearing everything laid out, all the conspiracies, what is your opinion?
/conclusion.
/conclusion. Tthank you, Oscar.
Honestly, I don't really have... really don't have that much of an opinion about it because there's so much nonsense on the internet. There's so much shit being thrown at the wall. There's so many things I get in my inbox every day and odd phone calls and all this sort of stuff. I feel like a lot of this stuff is just language barrier. It's just like the content is being created by children or very young teenagers. People are being commissioned to put these things together. There's probably some farm, computer farm in fucking Bangladesh that's cranking out these videos, having, hundreds of programmers working on them, just making nonsense videos, and some of them are just adding nonsense, weird poop and pee stuff to them without like anyone really checking it or telling them not to or whatever. I don't feel like there's somebody that's specifically going out of their way to expose children to this stuff. I think that I think
that's just as naive as me saying there are no world pornography rings or whatever.
No, well, what I'm thinking is that there's somebody paying a company or a farm to basically just crank out as much content as possible, and this stuff just gets thrown in the mix.
What I can believe is that is true, that maybe there's a farm of these people that are just doing what they're paid for in a land that has way less rules and regulations about it. I'm down with that. Yes. I'm down with even them saying, like, okay, some of these videos, I want these kind of things in there, or they'll put up separate version, a percentage of those people that are working at, they'll just do anything for money, they don't give a shit, to make these kind of videos that we're talking about today. But I think they have to be told that there's no way is this working in like some sort of vacuum of nonsense.
Exactly.
There is absolutely no way, Jay. Dave. Fuck. I like yell at both of you.
But you don't understand.
No, that's exactly right. I'm with you.
You don't understand. In foreign countries,
they also don't piss and shit in their mouths, right?
But
that's not a common thing anywhere.
If you go to Europe, there's fucking tits on television at 3:00.
And in Mexico, they have a centerfold piece in their newspapers. Doesn't mean that they like pissing in their mouths.
But that's the thing is, like in other countries, that might just be considered like.
By the way, that's awesome.
That might just be considered a fucking funny practical joke.
In their news, they show all the brain and guts matter if there is violence on the street. They'll show everything. Unlike here, I understand that.
Right, and so I'm just saying it's a language barrier thing. I don't think it's intentionally going out of its way.
I thought of that first. It's not culturally. It's impossible. It's just culturally because they're all the same.
Yeah.
If that was culturally speaking, if some company in Ireland's making something, then whatever they don't care about will be on there.
What country are these things being
made? You think one place is making everything? You think one country is making everything? I don't believe so. You don't think some Russian companies also making it in addition to some Peruvian country? You don't think they have different cultures? They have different backgrounds. They have different things that they care about. They're all the same though. In the end,
Somalia, there's fucking 11-year-olds murdering people with machine guns, and it's considered.
And guess
normal.
what? They don't fucking have the internet.
They're not creating YouTube content.
Right.
My point is that
you have a comment.
This stuff can come from anywhere in the world. There's 205 countries in the world. And in other countries, things that we would consider completely obscene and ridiculous are just completely normal, everyday occurrences.
And I want you to give me an example of a country that doesn't care or have any moral counterpart to anything we talked about the Elsa being a sex slave. I think I saw one of those. Mm-hmm. Any raping, any wife beating,
drinking bleach.
Any of those. Drinking bleach?
Drinking bleach, committing
That's cool,
suicide.
right?
Have you ever seen a fucking Japanese game show?
Yeah.
Or a Mexican
And they're crazy,
game
but
show?
they don't do this.
Have you ever seen those prank videos where they got they're fucking like sticking their heads up through toilets and fucking bathrooms and public bathrooms?
Okay.
And
now,
women
how does
are
that
running
translate?
out of the bathroom
How does that translate?
with their pants down?
How does that translate to them being okay with making sex slave videos of Elsa being taken over by Spider-Man?
You can go.
How does that translate to that into like them being okay? Oh, let's show our kids this. This is totally fine.
But you can go on,
translate that.
You can go on YouTube right now and you can look up prank videos from like Brazil or whatever. I saw one the other day where there's an outhouse right on a beach. And a woman goes into the outhouse.
Yeah, we've seen these, sure.
There's hidden cameras in the outhouse.
Yeah.
She pulls down her pants to go to the bathroom, and a guy with a hockey mask sticks his head up through the toilet next to her.
Okay.
And she goes screaming and running out of the, like, you couldn't do that in America. There's no way you could get away with that.
But you can't do this in any country.
Completely normal.
For one reason. No one country allows this if it isn't, like, farmed out and sold specifically, like, paid specifically to do it. No one does that. No culture allows this. No
it's a running joke
motherfucker.
that Germany's into shit porn. Like that's like it's like a normal thing there.
No. A fetish for everything adult-wise is there for everyone to enjoy in every country. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that their value system. You cannot say that there is a country out there that does that. No one ever does that.
What I'm trying to say here is that peeing into a water fountain and making other people drink it.
Kids, by the kids. Let's on YouTube.
Which, by the way, I can see the Three Stooges doing that.
Might be considered a hilarious prank.
No, it's hilarious
in
to me.
Another
Even.
country.
It's hilarious to me, but that doesn't mean that they would. Doesn't mean that they would put it for kids. And even if they would, it doesn't mean that they would also do the other stuff we're talking about.
Exactly.
So it's not to any one thing's fault. Which means that these things are being sold and paid for specifically. It has to be.
Specifically to target kids.
But here's my point.
Right.
Okay, if you saw a woman walking down the street in front of children with her top down, with her tits out, like you would think that was completely inappropriate.
Well, it depends. Do I have my son or my daughter with me?
But it wouldn't matter. But in Finland or Denmark or whatever, that's completely normal.
Right, and in Manila, the prostitutes there are all just hanging out, all bared out and everything.
And it's not a weird thing.
But they are not being paraded on a platform that is designed and vetted for children.
But you don't know.
And why why would they ever think that that kind of thing is like the people that created the most degradation in our domestic homes here and abroad is the impoverished, because they're impoverished. So it makes sense. The drunkards, the dad that does crazy things, that does all the whatever crazy thing that happen that makes it to the news or doesn't make it to the news. You see that in True Detective, for example. That's a great example of like impoverished people being taken advantage of by violent people. Right? These people are not making millions of dollars fucking on YouTube. Okay, they're not. They don't. That's not a correlation, and it doesn't mean the whole world's like this. It means that parts of the world are like this, and parts of it is all being bought and sold by a different part of the world, which means probably pedophiles, probably the powerful people that like to watch this kind of stuff. Maybe even an agency that's trying to control people or children. But no, it's too specific. It's no way. There is no way that that's saying that. Whatever they're doing in Bangladesh or in Amsterdam, it doesn't validate the reasons behind these videos. It does not.
I'm with you on this one, Oscar, 100%. Dave is obviously entitled to his opinion, and he feels strongly about it. That's a great thing about this podcast. We have multiple different views on a lot of these topics. But I think everyone at the table could agree the shit is weird. Dave, is it weird?
Yeah, it's weird. But I'm just saying...
How grudgingly he says it.
Thank you.
I'm just saying it's weird.
Thank you, Oscar. Take us home.
Let's get the fuck out of here.
It's weird to us in this country.
No, man.
In other countries, it might be a completely normal.
Okay,
I'm not buying it.
I have a few friends from different countries.
You, man, but I'm not buying it.
I have a friend who lives in Japan these days. Okay, she's been there for 10 years. I'm gonna ask her a question. And then I'll ask my Colombian friend. I'll ask a German friend. I'll ask...
Do it.
Trust me, none of them...
Luke, ask a Polish friend.
No, man, he's been here too long.
Oh, okay, fair enough. How about Cloud? He speaks with an accent, doesn't he?
Well, his wife is definitely from,
Talk to Cloud's wife.
Yeah, Poland. There you go. I'll get another viewpoint.
Get their take and show them just a sequence of these videos and say, is this normal?
All of them will not show this to the kid. Trust me.
Exactly.
Or not want to, anyway.
Exactly.
So, there's no way. Who's okay with this? Okay, listeners, who's okay with this to their kids?
Yeah.
Tell us. We won't judge you. We totally secretly will, though. And then
we'll totally judge you.
We'll totally judge you.
Yeah, write us.
Please, prove they right.
Look at how sexualized Disney princesses are and shit like that.
I'm not saying they're not fucked up. It is fucked up to me. I don't even like Disney movies in general for some of the principled natures. I love the music. It's catchy. Yes, honey, I'm sorry. But like some of that stuff, they're peddling moral things that are not even current. They're not even worth it. I don't like that stuff either, but that's my own personal viewpoint, and it doesn't breach that line in the sand, which is fucking pedophile type stuff. Exactly. That's my line in the sand in this one.
Exactly.
And they're not doing that. And I don't care how subliminal they are. They can be subliminal. I'm not in charge of that. And that's interesting if we find something, pull it into light. We mentioned the Disney stuff.
A lot of the stuff that was described, it's like scatological and pee humor. It's like, it's not, and there's violence.
It's sex. It's violence. It's abandonment. It's scatological. It's abuse by authority figure.
Right.
These are all...
And a kid seeing it is different. A kid can get addicted by its
primal
funny honky-tonk tune. It'll watch it and be glued to it for different reasons that we can't be glued to it. So yeah, it's different. But it's geared for them. That's the whole point. I can't stand it, but I can see a kid fucking staring at it.
Yeah.
You know?
And just as an aside,
You know what? I watched
just-
over and over again when I was fucking 8 years old?
What?
Blazing Saddles.
Oh, it's good parenting you had.
Spaceballs.
Yeah, I saw Back to the Future 1,000 times.
Well, you mentioned Disney, right?
Yeah.
One thing I did read while I was doing research for this episode is that Disney's Fantasia came out in 1940. Was a movie that
1940? That movie's
yeah,
that old?
Yeah,
Jesus.
1940, man.
Damn.
Was a movie that MK Ultra used to help with mind control and color programming. That and Alice in Wonderland. Just as an aside, figured I'd throw it out there.
Well, Alice in Wonderland was written
Alice in
in
Wonderland is fucked up. It's got
Drugs,
use
yeah.
and
Yeah, it
shit,
does.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, but
What does that expose
I
them to?
really believe.
Fucking Wizard of Oz is fucking nuts.
Actually,
and that's from 1939.
Wizard of Oz was another movie on the
Yeah.
list for
Yeah.
supposed MK Ultra.
I think that's more of a case of the times that are changed. The times that are different.
Yeah.
But back then, it was,
but I
someone's
mean,
more allowable. That's just all it is.
You have to admit that, like, fucking things like Tom and Jerry and fucking Alice in Wonderland, and were, like, in retrospect, were pretty fucked up for kids to watch.
I know, but I'm saying
I
this,
still can't go in the ocean to this fucking day because my dad had me watch fucking Jaws when I was 4 years old.
I love Jaws.
But
So you're the main character in Jaws who hates the water.
in my opinion, there is a concerted effort. It's on scale.
I mean, back then Marlon Brando played a
big
Mexican,
effort, and
so,
they're targeting
what can I
kids.
say?
Targeting for what? I don't know. I the more I read, the more I research, I'm buying
What are they
into.
targeting kids
I'm
to
buying.
drink each other's piss and poop on each other. Like,
They're
what's the end
targeting
goal here?
kids to accept. I don't know if degradation.
Let's just make up words. Huh?
For what end? I
Turn
don't
on the
know.
fucking
I don't
news.
know.
Look at the president's Twitter feed. Like,
But kids
I do-
aren't.
We're
Kids
surrounded by that
aren't.
stuff.
I do like the
Kids
idea.
aren't glued to the news. They're not glued to
I
Twitter.
do-
They're glued to YouTube.
Right, they're not on Twitter. I like the idea that, like, we talked a little bit about the conspiracy options, the possibilities of why these things are happening.
Yeah.
One thing we didn't think about is, like, well, how does this relate to, and I feel like it might be something to, I was going to say Black Ops. That's not Black Ops. It's the dark web. In the sense of, like, what if in the coding of the color scheme of the video's formation, whatever you can pull from that. I don't do coding, but I'm sure there's coding involved to make the color green in that scene, right?
Sure.
So, like, what if that is a send off or a link to an actual horrible pedophile video that people on the black web can extrapolate and watch, and this is the way they peddle that information through YouTube Kids.
Wow.
You have no idea,
I had no-
or they involve like a collection of these in the right order makes a Bitcoin for you. I don't know fucking know. How do we know
Wow.
that?
Wow.
You know, it's all code and it's all strange, and this strange confluence of ideas and fucked up imagery is all part of some other nefarious thing that has nothing to do with it. Maybe it's just unrelated.
I just
Wow,
Googled,
okay.
I just Googled,
Jesus Christ.
What
I just
the-
Googled
what-
weird kids shows.
Dave, there's nothing you're going to say that's going to convince either one of us that there isn't something strange going on here. I'm sorry. We're going to have to agree to
I
disagree.
just Googled weird kids shows.
We've been
and one of
friends
the-
long
Because
enough.
that's what
we
kids
can
look up,
disagree
weird
and
kid
be
shows for
okay.
me.
One of the
I
first things that shows up
wholeheartedly disagree.
is a little tiger baby pooping on a toilet, like from Japan or whatever.
Okay.
That's okay.
Is it an ElsaGate video once you start watching it? I don't know.
I don't
There's
know.
millions of them.
Yeah.
Still doesn't prove a point.
The Teletubbies are fucking weird.
Yeah, that-
And by the way, and also I want to say that
Teletubbies setting.
something to the Hollywood aspect of it. It goes both ways. It's a double-edged sword. The negative, we explain how they can use it to influence the general public for bad things,
Right.
or testing us for bad things, which I won't exactly deny. I've seen a lot of movies. And usually the more indie you go, the weirder they are. But also, the indier they go, the more direct involvement that the creator has.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when they play with color schemes and tone and sound relating to that, you think of a lot of things. I'm not going to go into them. You start seeing, like, a lot of these, they feel dreamlike. A lot of these, they feel like I can see some weird indie movie that no one's heard of that does this amazing effect on it, but they do it for the effect that the creator wants, as opposed to
and it elicits a response from
common
you.
denominator of what we watch on a daily basis here. It comes in theaters, which is a very different feel. They feel very different, these movies.
Are you
It's
guys-
not just that one's HD and one isn't. It's beyond that. It makes you think that there is something subliminal going on with the blockbusters out there, because they all look the same. They all do the same thing. And you watch an indie movie that
It's
no
like
one's ever going to see.
It's like reality TV.
You watch
It's
upstream
all-
color,
it
and all of a sudden, like, what kind of perspective is this?
It all follows
or
the
it gives you a different
same
mood.
formula.
Yeah.
When I did my reality show a few
Yeah.
years ago, I was basically forced into making it with the confessionals and the voting off and this, that, and the other thing,
Right.
because they're like, that's what people want. I'm like, that's not what people want. That's what you keep pushing on people. Like, you can't let anything be original.
It goes both ways, exactly. Like when people said, like, you know, with the white Oscars, like a couple years ago, where every nominated person was white.
Oh, yeah.
Something
Wait,
I want to
let him
point out
finish.
before we get too far off the subject. Are you guys
we're off the
familiar
subject.
with Punch and Judy?
Yes.
Punch and
Yeah,
Judy.
I remember that.
Okay,
Yes, the old doll with the.
So a few years
his wife.
ago, I was metal detecting under a sidewalk tear out on the north side of Chicago, and I found this creepy little metal clown with like a crazy. Angry
he was
face and
Punch,
stuff.
right?
It was Punch from
Yeah,
a
yeah.
Punch and Judy piggy bank.
Okay.
And I got interested in like, what the hell is Punch and Judy? And I looked it up. In the 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s, there was a characters called Punch and Judy. It was a puppet show that traveled around to different state fairs and stuff.
Yep.
And so Punch was a clown, and Punch would beat the fuck out of his wife Judy.
Yeah.
And Judy would take a big ass fucking knife
You didn't know this?
and cut his arms off.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That was the puppet show.
Yeah. That was a puppet show.
That was a fucking puppet show.
Let me tell you a time when women were less likely to speak out loud and go against their male benefactors. It was back then.
That was considered.
So yeah, it's more fucking allowed back then, man.
That
It's
was
different
considered
times. I'm not
hilarious
arguing
at a
times
time.
for you.
Cutting a man's arms off for domestically abusing his wife was considered
kill you, Dave.
hilarious children's entertainment at some point.
But I'm still going to fall
Different,
back.
completely
yeah,
different
I'm still
context.
going to fall back on
But it's
my.
not, because
It
there's
is.
some countries that are still in that time frame.
But I'm
you
still
know?
going to
Does
fall
not
back on
excuse it for you two kids.
my biggest problem with this billion-dollar company, $1 billion at their disposal, supposedly protecting our children with all of their resources, and they let it go.
If YouTube existed in 1895,
the equivalent of
there
this.
would be a puppet show
Put it this way.
cutting off.
Put it this way: the equivalent of this
But we're not-
to
we're in
Punch and Judy
2018.
would make will have to be where Punch and Judy would be on literally every wall in every major building in the country for it to be as popular as this thing is, and as
But it
money
was that
making,
popular at the time.
and as money making as it was, and it wasn't. It's very popular because back then we didn't have TV, right?
What did they
but like
have?
not everyone knew. But not everyone
Look
knew.
at the Three Stooges. It was
Yeah.
all just violence.
In senseless violence,
Pianos
yeah, but they
falling
didn't
on
show no
people and
guts,
shit.
man. They
I
didn't show.
I guarantee you, not as many people seen Punch and Judy as children have seen these ElsaGate videos.
Well, probably not, because it wasn't. There was no mass media at the time.
That's
And
my
by the
whole
way,
point.
humanity learned to stop doing that, to stop showing kids that kind of thing. The fact that it's up now even belittles your point less
You
more.
can still
so
see
Yeah.
fucking Tom and Jerry on television today.
Yeah, but how hard do you have to search for it?
Not that hard.
Song of the
Those-
South,
those
completely
old-
taken off Disney's thing. We can't find that unless you find
That's
a
right.
pirated version.
The old racist Tom
Right.
and Jerry with the
Right.
black mammy
Yep,
cat Tom owner.
Right.
You can't find it.
Yeah,
You have to go to YouTube to find it. It's not out there.
right.
It's
Disney
gone.
does not want to
But I
acknowledge
can
it.
remember seeing that on TV as little as 10 years ago.
Because you're old.
I
because
doubt
you're
it.
old. That's just because you're old.
Those have been pulled for a very long time.
Yeah. It's like when people say about violence in this country has worsened when it's actually lessened over the years. The 80s were clearly the worst time for drugs and gangs and shit.
70s,
That's not
80s,
yeah, that's what the worst time.
Yeah, look at New York in the 70s. Holy shit.
the worst time. Chicago, fuck Southside. Stay
Chicago's-
away from
you're
Chicago
right.
in the Southside in the 80s. Don't be a black person, a white person, or a brown person. Don't be any of those at all.
and
Be-
it's coming back again.
I mean,
in
this,
Chicago.
again, people are saying it, and people are saying all this stuff, but it's never been lower. Also, like it's just a different beast. We're saying something that isn't true, and yet we're showing these kids
This
that
is the
isn't
thing.
okay and hasn't been okay here for decades.
But you have to realize that
And by here, I mean
times
world.
are always changing, and
Bob Dylan.
what we would consider unusual in this country would not be unusual in other countries. Like the example of a woman walking down the street topless would
And
not be considered
I'm with you on that point.
unusual in
That's
another
right. That point
in a
is
European country.
That little point is fine, except that all of them, what we're talking about, is acceptable in any one country. That's what I'm
But
saying.
What I'm saying
agree.
is that some of that stuff might be considered.
If Punch and Judy
normal.
also raped her in the ass and then
But
also
that's not-
drugged
that-
her,
we're
and
not talking
maybe
about-
then we're getting
We're
somewhere.
talking about, like, from the videos you described, there's like scatological stuff, there's abuse, there's being like people getting tied up,
A lot of
beat
different
up,
things,
or
yes.
whatever.
A lot of different horrible things.
But in other countries, that is considered Like, when I was a kid, I thought that violence was hilarious. I did a whole comic strip panel of just, like, little characters getting, like, their heads smashed in and, like, dying and all sorts
consider
of
the
different
consider the
horrible
source.
ways. And that was just because I was
There
raised
is-
on fucking Tom and Jerry,
Right.
and that was considered
But then add the
normal.
other elements to it. Now, were you doing that too? Were you also fucking the head of the thing you cut off in the
but,
cartoon? Then no.
the stuff
Then
you're
it's not the
describing in
same.
these videos is not
Then
that
it's
kind
not
of
the
thing.
same. And
there's
the way
not-
we've treated violence in this country has always been way lax over anything sexual. We're afraid of sex in this country, like England.
yeah.
But violence, we'll show it in the bucket loads.
Like
you know
fucking,
that.
You know, Walking Dead can show like
Right,
people getting their
exactly,
heads split
exactly.
open,
But they can't show an
they
actual
can't-
love scene or
they
something.
Can't say fuck or show a
Right,
tit.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's
But nowhere in any country is it okay for kids to be
and
subjected
in France,
to any of that. It's
and in
not
France and
acceptable.
Japan, they're more okay with showing nudity and less on the violence. Oh, well, Japan is okay with violence too, but
in Norway, they leave their fucking babies in the stroller outside of the shop while they're inside shopping.
man.
and in Canada they don't lock their
and
doors.
eating
So
stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
and in Canada they don't lock the doors.
there's different customs in different countries that don't make any sense to us, that we would never understand, that we would never do here. So what I'm saying is, wherever the fuck bumblefuck third world country that these videos are obviously being made at, these things that they're putting out are not considered as crazy.
But that one country isn't generating the millions of viewers
Right.
either. To prove another point, by the way,
But my point is that,
that you suck.
first of all, I don't think any of those I don't think any of those views are natural. I think they're just fucking algorithms.
And I think I've seen kids literally stare at the same video over and over again on a loop.
Well,
Absolutely.
yeah, and I understand that.
And they're ridiculous videos.
Yeah.
Some of them are Cheetos commercials from the 90s.
When you
Probably.
watch
Something.
fucking Teletubbies, which was a mainstream show
Yeah.
on television,
Which came from Germany, I
you
think.
would watch it for 2 or 3 minutes, and you'd be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, but one thing you gotta
on?
one thing you gotta remember about
What is
YouTube, when YouTube catches on that you have non-organic followers and growth, they take them away.
Right, because they
take
don't
away.
want to pay them. They don't
Because-
want to keep
But
supporting
there's
the
no
kind of
fucking
thing.
way
Even-
that these videos have 300 million views.
There is a way. Yes, there is a
Absolutely there
way.
is. Consider the audience. The
I mean,
audience
whatever
doesn't
is
know any
popular-
better. They'll every kid will
So
watch
you're
a
sa-
video
there's
10
kids-
times.
So you're saying
times a
so you're saying
million?
There's 300 million children.
Dude,
on the
I
face
have
of the planet
memorized-
that are watching these videos.
I have memorized
No.
this awful
No.
kids show called Beetleborgs because my youngest brother, who is 11 years younger than me, would watch it so many times that I've, against my will, have memorized this entire show and their movies because he would constantly rewatch the videotapes, and that's just videotapes, bro, over and over and over and over, and I still
Yeah.
make fun of him today. I still sing that song in front of him just to make fun of him, just because he made me watch it so many times.
Yeah.
Beetleborgs, like Alex, and yeah, I remember all that.
Yeah.
And it's,
But you have to consider the fact that,
you suck.
okay, so there's 200 or 300 million views on these things or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I could go back to the
There's
notes,
how
but
many-
yeah,
how-
I mean,
Even if you
we're-
take
we're
half,
talking,
let's say take half of that out for bots.
How many?
Now, don't forget-
How many people in this world even have access to the internet?
A lot, but not
Half?
but not a lot.
Half of
I would
the
say
people
like
in the world?
I would say
Maybe like-
60%, 70%,
Maybe like
go back to
3
my notes
billion
here.
people.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 billion people have
3-4
access to the
billion.
internet.
Yeah, sure.
So you're saying that what, like 1 out of 8 people have watched one of these videos on the entire face of the planet?
If they're kids, yeah.
Because that's basically what
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying.
or just large groups of people watching them again and
Even
again
even
and
if it's
again
even
and
if it's a
again.
fraction of them, it's still a shit ton of people, more to make up for any one culture or country that is okay with all this suddenly. Like even vouching for that idea is too much, man.
Yeah, it's
Too
one
much.
channel, 8.5 million subscribers. That's verified by YouTube. Another
what I
one,
can do tonight?
another one. But what do you? 1.7
You know what I
billion
can do?
views
You
on
know
the
what I can
channel,
do right now?
verified by YouTube.
What I can do right now, tonight, with like $300, I can contact some fucking server farm in Bangladesh or wherever the fuck to go on our YouTube channel and watch every video over and over and over again and subscribe and subscribe and subscribe, and we could have 1 million views overnight.
We'll have
Oh,
a million
please
views
prove that to
overnight.
me. Prove that to me.
Yeah, we'll have 1 million views overnight, but in 48 hours, we'll be back to just over 1,000 because YouTube takes them away. It's happened to our channel. It's happened to our channel. YouTube takes them away. They're not going to pay. They're not going to pay ad revenue to bots. They know what bots are. They know.
Yeah, but
they know the
these
tricks
server farms
to
don't wanna
rack
get
up.
around that because they have, banks and banks of computers that are all running different programs and different windows through different IP addresses.
Sure,
and everything
exactly,
else.
and YouTube supposedly has algorithms to vet that stuff, and they'll take it away. These numbers I'm quoting, these are YouTube's own numbers. What else can I say?
Okay, and
They're
even
YouTube's
even
own
if
numbers.
even the top 10 grossing in views, I mean, videos of this kind that we're talking about, ElsaGate related, even if half of those, or even give you 75% of them, are bots or made up, there's still a billion other videos, and there's still millions of people watching them that are true watchers. There's still that many more. Yeah. The numbers are overwhelming.
Yeah.
There's no way 300 million of those 300 million are fucking computers.
No.
There is no way.
Absolutely not.
There's no way 300 million people have watched those videos.
But even if I tell you only a third of that, 100 million, it's 100 million people, 100 million views, not people, views.
Yeah.
And that's not one kid. That's a lot of kids randomly all the time, looping.
Right.
Right.
So how are they going to differentiate between the kid that's looping the video over and over again to the
It doesn't matter. The point is that the numbers are on our side. The numbers are on our side to say that it is worldwide and it isn't acceptable worldwide. That's all I'm trying to tell you.
But what I'm saying is there's no way to differentiate between a 2-year-old or a 5-year-old sitting in front of the computer and refreshing the video and watching it over and over again to a program on somebody's computer doing the same exact thing.
Okay.
There's no way for YouTube to differentiate.
No, I'm sure there is a way. I am sure there is one. There's a difference between a genuine IP address and one that skips around the world to make it hidden or something.
Think of it. If there wasn't, YouTube wouldn't monetize.
Right.
If there
They wouldn't
wasn't
make this
a
much
way,
money.
YouTube would not monetize.
There wouldn't be a controversial thing about where are the statements and the money that these people are coming with. Like, there wouldn't be that information.
To get around all of that stuff.
I'm in a Mr. Robot world, yeah. But I don't know if you're trying to give them too much credit or not at all, but I just don't think that all of them are benefiting or not benefiting in the same way. Even if you say half of these companies are getting away with it and the other half aren't, there's still half of the company. No way you can say that they're not. There's no way. Yeah. It's just the numbers are against you in every viewpoint you got. Because if there's even 5% which I'm not going to give you, is that are getting away with it, that's a lot of money still. That's a shit ton of money. It's a shit ton of views. And that's what we're talking about. That's what he's trying to warn people about.
Exactly.
I don't have any kids, but I have a nephew, and I don't want him to watch it anymore. Things like that. So I already told about it. Obviously, he'll do whatever he wants. He does that, but I warned him.
Yeah, and I think on this we're just going to agree to disagree because we could argue all night long.
I just simply think it's language barrier, it's foreign stuff, and it's not as nefarious as people are making it out to be. I don't think there's some ulterior motive other than
if one of these videos had
fair enough.
If one of these videos had let's talk about a recent tragedy. One of these videos had a shooting in a concert. And we talk about that one that happened in France, right? Recently?
Or the one in Vegas.
No, I don't want to say Vegas. I want to say a different country for days' sake.
Gotcha. Yes.
What do you think? Do you think the children in any place that has a mall or a concert will love that or like that if they put it in a children's video? I'm sure there is one out there. I'm sure there is. And wouldn't that be as just as fucked up as shitting in each other's mouths in the videos or whatever they're doing?
When I was researching this, I saw there was one series of videos that were done a bunch of different ways with different characters, where the two babies go into a jewelry store and take like crowns and put them on their head and walk out of the store, and then the woman in the store calls the police, and the police, then the parents of the children meet up with the children, see they have the crowns, and like, what are you doing with these crowns? The police show up and arrest them all and put them in jail. And they're like, oh, why would they do this horrible thing where they show this family going to jail and stuff? And I'm like, well, actually, it seems like it's teaching children not to steal stuff because they're going to wind up in jail. Like,
okay,
I don't see why they're picking on that particular one. So, like, the context of some of these things is probably... there's probably some end goal or lesson or
and plus,
whatever.
It's got to be some sort of UN
I think
violation.
There's an end goal.
It's got to be some sort of UN violation of the content creator that's coming out here.
Let's just say, for argument's sake, they have 1,000 people that they commission to make these videos. All right, go out and make these videos, put minions in them, put these colors in them, do this thing, do that thing, and there's 1 or 2 people in all of those thousands of people that are just making these fucked up videos and slipping them in there just to see if they can get through. Just because they want to get their fucked up thing out there.
Okay.
And whoever's uploading them is obviously not watching every video. They're just fucking uploading the content that they get sent to them. So these weird-ass videos that are showing up in these masses of, other videos, the 1 out of 100 or whatever that's fucked up, like, there might not be an intent there other than the one guy that developed the video that had some fucked up idea in his head that's slipping him in.
Maybe, but then YouTube should have caught it, and they haven't. But yet they'll catch you for talking political.
I wouldn't even give you the maybe. I just don't think that. I just don't believe that. Don't believe that.
That's okay.
Business.
That's all right.
I'm in the produce business. Okay?
We don't have to agree, guys.
You
Right.
know what I do?
Produce ain't digital.
What people in the produce business do when they have like bad product, but they have for instance, I have all this stuff left over from last week, but I have all this new fresh stuff. You know what they do? Mix some of this old stuff in with the new stuff.
But that's not one restaurant of 1,000. That's probably a lot of restaurants.
Handful here, handful there, handful there. Nobody's going to complain about one.
Phil
or
was
two
talking
bad
about something
pieces
before.
in their 100 pieces.
About the movies thing.
I go to pick up mushrooms from my wholesaler every week. There's a box, 40 packages of mushrooms, and I have to go through every single one because you know what the company does when the mushrooms go bad and get sent back to them? They put the bad ones into all the fresh boxes. So there's always going to be 1 or 2 packs in every box that are going to be like all gross and deflated. So you have to go through and check those things. And I think this is a quality control issue of where they're just getting hundreds and hundreds of these videos a day, and they're just putting them up there to try and generate
Again, I'm not
views
saying that YouTube isn't
and
missing
just
this
slapping
point
them up
out, but
there.
I don't
I'm not even
think...
talking about YouTube. I'm talking about whoever's the uploader of the content is not vetting it. They're just putting it up and putting it up. And then it's up to YouTube to go through all these hundreds of videos with human eyes, which they probably don't have. And even if they do have human eyes, they're probably some fucking 15-year-old kids in Bangladesh that are working for YouTube in some server farm and don't recognize any of this stuff.
That's a lot of needles in the hay, man. You're describing a very pessimistic, strange business acumen that it's impossible to defend and fucking go with.
It's like with Facebook content and stuff. I get banned all the time for using.
He really does, guys.
No kidding.
I get banned for saying things like white trash or like being like, "Hey, you're just like Dylan Roof with the things that you're saying and the things that you believe." And for whatever reason, I'll get banned for like talking shit to white supremacists, literally telling Nazis that they're Nazis. Some guy was going back and forth with me and he literally said on his page, "I agree with Nazis." Like to a comment that I said, I'm like, "Dude, you agree with Nazis?" And he said, "I agree with Nazis that you should be beat up," or something like that. And I cut and copied what he said to say, "I agree with Nazis" with his name in it.
No.
And I reposted that. That got me banned for 3 days just for reposting the thing that this guy said.
Because what they care about is you posting his name out in such a way.
No, because
that
this
could
is what-
be.
so
That's
this
a
is
good
what
point.
The guy actually said.
I'm saying...
And you could actually see it on the thread. He just said it, and all I did was repost the comment as he said it.
That's
with
you talking about
screenshot, and I
Facebook
got banned.
in comparison
But
to
my
YouTube
point-
letting these
but my
videos
point
step
is,
in.
You know the reason why I got banned is not because I violated any terms of service or whatever, but they sent that, when it got reported, it got sent to some foreigner in some other country that's working for Facebook for 2 cents an hour or whatever, that saw a keyword Nazi and like said, "Oh, okay, well, we're going to ban this person." For what? They just hit a button. They see a word, they hit a button, they check their list. Yep, that's the word. Hit a button. That's what they do all day long. Word, hit a button. Word, hit a button. Word, hit a button. So that's the same thing with.
So you're saying not only is that happening with the creation of his content, but also the way they're delivered? Is some sort of fucking like random stapler that gets fucking mangled differently in a piece of paper in a string of papers like Brazil, the movie?
I'm saying
No.
this content on the internet, all this stuff that the way everything on the internet is managed.
I think you really hate conspiracies. I just think you just really hate the idea of intent. You hate the idea of intent. There is no way, no fucking way you can animate this by accident and let it go away. No way one person or even
I'm not
a
saying
percentage.
it's being animated by accident.
Right.
I'm saying it's one person.
I don't think
doing
it's one
it
person
somewhere in
either.
the chain of command.
Well, let's not
that's
forget.
not getting caught.
Let's
I
not
don't even
forget
think
the
that's-
countless live action videos that are being made as well.
Right, that guy, the father who
The
who did the thing with his
who got
kids.
through for years.
Right.
The live action Elsa and Spider-Man and Hulk and Harley Quinn and Mickey and Minnie.
And honestly,
These
you
aren't-
can watch a
these aren't
blockbuster
kids
movie
in
where the
Bangladesh
father
drawing them.
and you can watch a blockbuster movie where the serial killer's backstory in the movie comes, he was tortured to death by his, the Cell has one of the craziest scenes where his father beats him up and rapes his mother and fucking burns him with the iron. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
In the flashback of the dreams of that kid, how he became a serial killer was that he was man. They show all this in the movie, but that's artistic intent for adults. That's different. They can watch all this stuff too.
My point is that a lot of people will make the weirdest fucking content they can make. Just go into like your Facebook gifs right now and just punch in weird and look at the shit that shows up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like fucking faces melting into each other. There's like a lady that's covered in some sort of pudding and she's like.
I seen that. Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrifying.
And Doctor Strange had a mind bending
What is that?
LSD trip in the middle of it.
And what it is, it's just people intentionally going out of their way to just make weird ass content just so people will click on it and be like, what the fuck is this?
And this is not just weird though.
But YouTube promises that content will not be on YouTube Kids or the YouTube Kids app. Could we at least agree,
I agree
that there is gross negligence on YouTube's part?
I agree. But at the same time, do you know who they have as the human eyes that are actually vetting these things?
It's majority, from what I could tell, is as I quoted in the first episode, a complex proprietary secret algorithm that does the vetting. Yeah,
it's people in some third world country working in some sort of computer.
Right next to makes our
giant
Nikes. I get it.
warehouse
Yeah.
That are just looking for
And
the
iPhones.
key words or the key images that they hit the button.
okay.
And it does not excuse this
And the
level
people that are
of
making
content.
these-
It does
the
not
people that are
excuse
making
it.
these videos with all the tags and all that shit, they know how to.
David, we're literally going in circles here. We're saying the same thing again, and we're remaking the same points after 2 minutes of saying the other point we just made, and we're not agreeing to anything. I just don't agree with you. I do not believe this.
And
Even
if there
even
is
if part of
someone-
it was true, I can give you a little bit of leeway, but it's just impossible to fathom that way. I just don't see it.
And if there is someone vetting human by keyword, how are titles like drink piss, make cut, suicide, how are these keywords getting through then?
Because the people looking at them don't speak English.
Then again, going
They don't
back to my
even- they're
point,
looking.
gross fucking negligence on
Have you
YouTube's
ever read
part.
a Chinese
And
menu?
what is spurring that gross negligence?
And yet, there are a few things where we could write where our keywords will produce the opposite effect. So there is some vetting going on.
So
There's not
many
nothing
things-
going on.
So many things get lost in translation.
Drink piss? I'm not sure that gets lost in translation.
Have you ever read a Chinese menu or stereo instructions that were translated from Chinese?
Yes.
Have you ever tried to put together a piece of IKEA fucking furniture? Like,
But suicide, drink piss, play with poop. I mean, these things are. Would they be pretty universal? I would think.
Yeah, I'm done arguing with them.
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's all agree to disagree. We all made our points. Listeners,
I'm not really disagreeing. I'm just pointing out that there's a lot of language barrier stuff.
All right.
And
Point
a lot
taken.
of this stuff is coming from weird ass.
Well, you're saying it's a different thing than what we're saying, so that's
I'm saying
disagreeing.
it's coming from third world countries where
let's say
shit's weird.
we
I
got,
think that if Jay and I were saying those points, you'd be saying the other thing we'd be saying.
listeners, check us out online.
I get it. You're the prettiest peacock here. I get it.
Check us out online, ChicagoGhostPodcast.com.
Yeah.
Please give us iTunes ratings. Search Supernatural Occurrence Studies Podcast on iTunes. Leave us a rating. You leave us a rating, we'll read your rating on the show.
You know what? Give us a rating, and we'll send you a link to one of these fucked up videos.
There you go.
for a
I
little-
like that, Oscar.
Right?
And
So much
as
of it.
always, contact us at contact@chicagoghostpodcast.com. Let us know what you think about tonight's and last podcast topic. Dave, I just got to say one thing.
Yes.
You thought this was going to be a bad topic.
No, I didn't think it was going to be a bad topic.
You ho-hummed me
I
to
just
death
kinda
about the
told you
topic.
where I was-
And
where
look
I-
at all the content we came with. This was good.
It's not really paranormal.
It is not paranormal, but it's
Made all the
conspiracy. Oscar, well, any final words?
Yeah. No. One of my favorite things to do is if you want to watch how content is created is very fascinating. So, like, if you read books on even one person's viewpoint of how they made movies, like Stanley Kubrick's a big one. That guy subliminally did stuff to us.
Yeah, Stanley Kubrick.
Now, he just did it with a different intent, and ultimately, because it was his own, it is nefarious by nature because it's not created by MK Ultra and CIA agents. Right. So there's a positivity in that, but his stuff that he's trying to show you is different. There's just one example of many different types. And you can watch cinematography videos and compilations and video essays about the breakdown of a certain scene or of a certain thing, and you start opening your eyes to how things are created and why they're created, and why a certain light or a certain dress or a certain thing or combination of those things will create and elicit a certain emotion for you. And then you start piecing it together, and you can, vet your own shit better, because we're all supposed to vet our own shit. Every household has different moral values. I understand that. Yeah. And if you have your own, research this shit if you want your kids or you yourself understanding better things if you want to watch something better than you're watching today. Which is why I can't stand, what MTV, girl got pregnant 17 again. I don't know. I hate that shit because it's just pointless nonsense to me. Yeah. But because I've seen so much of this other stuff, so.
There you go.
That's my last point.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. With that, I don't know who's taking us home. Somebody take us home.
Just go home. Yes.
Want to save your soul from hell, riding on our range. Cowboy, change your ways today. Oh. With us you will ride. Devil's herd.